I want to walk us through the everything Claude code piece. So everything Claude code is this repo that is by Afin-M. And it's a very popular repo. It's got 143,000 stars, 21,000 forks, which is a lot. So what is this? There's a lot going on. And so I took this and I didn't realize how often he was updating. Like it's got 1,000 commits. But this is something that somebody called out a little bit ago. I've been using it for some time now. Not sure how long, but a while. And I'm using it because it writes better code. So it basically provides guidelines and rules for the agent. And so I did a fork from my other code base, which is private. And then let's see. Yeah, which is private. And then I added in some of these rules. But the big thing here is when you think about what happens when you request information from a model, the model does something called RAG, and that is like retrieval, was it retrieval augmented generation? Basically, it's a complicated mathematical process that has documents and information in this vector database that by the math tells the model where to go and retrieve information so it doesn't get overwhelmed with all the information that it has at its disposal. And it's done at runtime to reduce the amount of tokens used and makes it more efficient, one, faster, and it optimizes the retrieval of information. I'm not saying this is RAG. What I am saying is it's similar to RAG, and I would think about it as like an iterative iterative context and file directive. So when you think about it, I had a glitch there. I said when you so many times. But it's this iterative file and it's iterative context and file direction or routing. And what I mean by that, so in this .gemini, there's this folder called commands. And so this folder commands has some commands and different things going on. But then there's this rules, styles, hooks, patterns, security. And when it has anything related to those types of questions or those types of things going on, it will reference those files. Instead of having a massive spreadsheet or a Word document that the AI needs to read through, when it has a question about something, it's able to just retrieve the exact thing it needs. Okay, how do I build a feature? How do I do database migration? Okay, what stuff am I supposed to be working on? All right, what are some of the kind of the controls that we have in place? What are our rules? Okay, this is our rule about architecture. Here is our coding commandments. Let's look through that. How should I structure a database? All of those things, if you had it in one large file, is a bit overwhelming when it comes to the context window because you're filling it up with the code base, you're filling it up with the information that you're requesting it to do, you're filling it up with its own thoughts because it's got to think about what you're talking about. And then on top of that, you've got this massive file that you want it to reference all the time. And so it doesn't scale very well. And what happens is it starts to hallucinate. And this context retrieval allows the code to be crisp and viable in, let's make sure I have, crisp and viable. I'm just make sure I don't have any approvals that I have to do. Implementation plan, review. Okay, so this put together, I'm stopping for a second. There's a lot going on here, but this is the implementation plan. You can add comments on what you'd want to change, but it's going to use the Stitch MCP, which is the Stitch Model Context Protocol. Stitch is a UI generative platform that Google came out with, I think a couple weeks ago. And so I asked it to use it. It's made some cool stuff, so I figured why don't we try it out on the show? It could be a hit or it could be a miss. And normally I should be able to put approve, but it's not letting me. So I'll just say looks good. All right. And then this one, it's got another plant. Huh. For some reason it doesn't allow me to approve this one either. Weird. And so it goes through what it wants to do, how it's going to name things, the process. And if you didn't like something and you're like, okay, I want to use XYZ model, you can make the suggestion in the change and it will update the implementation plan. But I don't need to make any changes because this is not going to be production. So we'll say looks good.